I'm AYERS-ELLIOTT.
I'm Cindy AYERS-ELLIOTT.
And we have a brand new show called Ag and Culture. We'll be discussing all things agriculture.
But more specifically, how it affects farmers and ranchers of color with national and local guests.
And of course, we're talking culture, food, wine, health, politics, education, and so much more.
Join us for informative and fun conversation with guests from all over the country.
It's a fresh new show, Ag and Culture, every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. on the East, and 7 a.m. on the West.
Watch us on our YouTube channel, MS Footprint Farms.
And on WeBelieve.global. Good morning and welcome. Episode number 4 of Ag and Culture. Good morning. I'm your host, AYERS-ELLIOTT, and of course, as always, my lovely co-host is...
I'm Cindy AYERS-ELLIOTT. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm excellent this morning.
How was your weekend?
It was great, and I'm so excited about today.
Good. Are you excited?
Well,
I'm always excited. This is episode number 4.
It's episode number 4, but I'm excited because not only is this the first day of February, but we got one of the most dynamic guests that will be with us today that I can't wait to introduce, and she's also a good friend.
Well, good. So if this is your first time tuning into this show, our show is Ag and Culture, and our show explores all things agriculture, but more specifically, how does it impact communities, farmers, and ranchers of color? And of course, we're talking culture. We like to talk food. We like to talk education, politics. We're going to talk wine. Speaking of wine.
Yes.
Yeah, speaking of wine, so I just got back from Houston bottling a lot of wine.
Yes.
So that was really fun.
Well, you were out with Eric, my youngest son.
Yep. So we'll talk about that off camera. But our goal of this show is just to be interactive and to inform everybody about what's going on in the state of agriculture and how it affects Black people. If you want to join in and be a part of this discussion, Instagram, Footprint Farms, Facebook, Footprint Farms as well, and hit the website, Footprint Farms ms.com, or you can hit us up 1-800-492-5186. And of course, you see the swag here. You see the swag on the table. You see the swag. And you see where your cup. Yeah, there it is. So our proud sponsors, Heifer International USA, for over 75 years. Heifer USA have been helping farmers and communities all over the world to create sustainable businesses and to earn living income and wages.
Absolutely.
So we always appreciate Heifer, and I challenge you guys to go check out heifer.org. It's a very, very good organization that's doing a lot to help a lot of people from around the world. So appreciate our title sponsors, Heifer International.
Absolutely. And they got some great videos, too. If you want to learn more about ag, you can actually watch some of their videos. But we're excited about them being our sponsors, and thank you so very much. We also have the pleasure of being able to say it's our official Black Month, February 1.
That's right. We're going to make sure we live every voice and sing. You know what I'm talking about?
Every voice and sing, but not just in February, but 365 days a year.
Absolutely. And I forgot last time. I said I wasn't going to forget because they hit me up. It's like, you didn't mention us, but shouts out to my Facebook group, Black Owned Farms.
Yes.
If you have not, or you're interested in farming and you have not checked out this group on Facebook, I highly recommend Black Owned Farms. Facebook group. There's over 250,000 people who are potential farmers,
and farmers.
that are farmers.
Yes.
So just a really good group. There's no question that's incorrect. Every question is a good question, and we want to say hello to our friends on Black Owned Farms Facebook group, and as well as everybody that's on our Facebook Live as well.
Facebook Live, and to our Footprint Farms group as well, to all of us. We're excited to be here and to be able to bring you great information that you can use and able to enhance life. And this is a part of what our mission is here at Ag and Culture.
Right. And we also want to say we're thinking about all of our HBCUs this morning.
Yes.
As we were getting ready to come on the air, and earlier this morning, even in Mississippi, 3 of our HBCUs that we know of, Alcorn State University, Jackson State University, as well as Tougaloo College, and I believe Howard University this morning as well, received bomb threats for the universities. So our hearts go out to our HBCUs. You know, it bothers me a little bit that they're trying to go after our babies, and I don't like that.
Well, you know, LeGrand, it's part of just everything with America right now, but especially being February, and of course they said we shouldn't have a month anyway.
So there again, this is kind of late breaking, and our hearts are with our HBCUs all over the country.
Absolutely.
With that being said, young lady, you said you had a very special guest.
I do.
And I'm going to let you do the honors of introducing this great person.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, if you would take notice to the screen right now, Eloris Speight, the Eloris Speight, who is the Executive Director of the Policy Center for Socially Disadvantaged Farmers and Ranchers. And she represents all of the 1890s as relates to farm policies and large CBOs, which is organizations in the community.
I'm sorry, CBO, what's that?
Oh, well, it's community groups,
Gotcha.
CBOs.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
And the great thing about that is that anyone can be a part of this organization. But I'm not going to waste our time because we got great information to share. So at this time, I will bring you my good friend and the leader of the Policy Center that I'm so proud to be a part of, Eloris Speight. Eloris, good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good.
Thank you. I'm doing great this morning. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Continue. You're our first guest that we've been able to see. The first one was Eric, and we had some technical difficulties. So right now, you're our very first. So not only are you the first to start up and lead this policy center, you're also the first for ag and culture. So congratulations, young lady.
Yes.
Thank you.
But please tell us more about the policy center.
Yeah. We'll just let you dive right in. Just for people who don't know, just explain to us a little bit about your role and exactly what is the Small Disadvantaged Farmers and Ranchers Policy Center.
Okay, so the Socially Disadvantaged Farmers and Ranchers Policy Research Center, located at Alcorn State University, and since that is such a mouthful, we refer to it as the Policy Center.
Got it.
It was authorized in the 2014 Farm Bill, and the 2014 Farm Bill specified that it was to be located at an 1890 university. So Alcorn State University, in response to the request for proposals from USDA, was a successful grantee. And so the Policy Center was then established in late 2015. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yes.
Now, one of the things I want to say, the Policy Center, it was a 20-year in the making to actually get it in the Farm Bill. It's 20 years, ago, a concept paper was written by Jerry Penny, who is now at Tuskegee University. And it started out as a policy center for Black farmers. Ultimately, it was expanded, and so it is a socially disadvantaged for all socially disadvantaged farmers. And for anyone not familiar with the term, socially disadvantaged is a term that refers to minority farmers, but the difference in the original definition between minority farmers and socially disadvantaged was white females. So white females were not included in socially disadvantaged farmers. Right. Now, later they were, included, but in the original definition, they were not.
Got it.
Okay, now you asked me, so why me? I was, as Cindy mentioned, the first executive director over the center, and I've been there for 6 years now. So a lot of firsts, in my career. I actually retired from USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, where I was the first Black female deputy chief for management in the 80-year history of the agency.
Oh, wow.
There, yes. And so I retired as a senior executive service member. And the other thing, though, so while I spent over 30 years in Washington, D.C., I also, growing up, spent my summers on my grandparents' family farm in North Carolina, small town in North Carolina, Wilson, North Carolina. And so that was my introduction. So I grew up putting in tobacco, if you will. So that was my, first exposure to agriculture. So I've been, agriculture has been a part of my, entire life. So you mix the two, 30 years in Washington and with a background in agriculture, made me an ideal candidate, if you will, to lead the Policy Center.
Right. And you mentioned the Policy Center. I'm sorry, you mentioned the Policy Center being in the Farm Bill, and just for some of us who don't know, you're referring to the United States Department of Agriculture as it relates to the United States National Farm Bill, correct?
That is correct. That is federal. The Farm Bill is the federal policy that really then sets the parameters, guidelines, authorizes, if you will, USDA and all of the programs for the farmers that are part of any USDA programs. The vehicle that authorizes and funds those programs is the Farm Bill, which is renewed, roughly every 5 years. It expires, and a new Farm Bill then is implemented by Congress. The House and Senate Agricultural Committees then draft the Farm Bill, and ultimately it is approved by Congress and signed off by the President of the United States.
Gotcha. So are we currently in a new Farm Bill right now as far as the renewal?
So it is the 2018 Farm Bill, but we're getting ready for the 2023 Farm Bill there. So individuals, organizations are now submitting recommendations to the House and Senate Agricultural Committees for work on the 2023 Farm Bill.
All right, Ms. Speight, hold that thought. We're going to take a commercial break. We have our guest via satellite, Ms. Eloris Speight of the Policy Center. We'll be back with more ag and culture right after this.
Heifer USA is a leader in regenerative agricultural practices, like our pastured pork production operation. Raising pigs on pasture allows the animals to flourish in their natural habitat while building organic soil matter and restoring soil biodiversity. And we're sharing our knowledge with viewers like you with in-depth training videos on raising pastured pork, poultry, cattle, and sheep. Find us on YouTube at Heifer USA and join our online community of regenerative ranchers today.
Footprint Farms is a beautiful 68-acre vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet. Hey, we're back with Ag and Culture. We have Ms. Eloris Speight. She is the Executive Director of Small Disadvantaged Farmers and Ranchers Policy Research Center, located at the 1890s Alcorn State University.
Yeah, and that's where it's housed. But
yes.
Eloris, tell us what it represents. I mean, it's housed right there, and we're there with great staff. We can talk about that. But tell us what it impacts, all the universities.
Absolutely. So the Policy Center was created to be a voice for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. And so although it is housed at Alcorn State University, it is a national center with a strategic focus in the 18 states that house the 1890 universities. And the mission of the Policy Center then is to conduct research, analyze policy, and make recommendations seeking to achieve equitable. And notice I said equitable. Not equal, equitable, and economic integration of USDA programs and policies for socially disadvantaged farmers, ranchers, communities, and rural landowners. So we do represent all socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers across the United States. Now, the ultimate vision of the Policy Center is to be the premier authority for information on the history, current conditions, trends, and future projections of socially disadvantaged farmers, ranchers, and communities.
So we're the ones that's pull all the information together. But talk to us and tell us, right now, we've been working for this next Farm Bill for the last 3 years, getting ready for the last Farm Bill.
And you're referring to the 2023 Farm Bill that you're getting ready for, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Correct.
right now,
Okay. So again, one of the, another reason that the Policy Center was created was to ensure that when the farm bills, are implemented, they advance the success of socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. And so, and that it is not only anecdotal stories, because, I'm sure there are plenty of stories that we all could share, but Congress wanted to make sure that we brought research-based data information to Congress then that talked about the impact and how many socially disadvantaged farmers, if you will, were experiencing similar or the same issues. And more importantly, then how many would be impacted if certain items were in fact implemented, the recommendations are implemented. So we have 4 areas of focus then. Stakeholder engagement, which includes an advisory board, which is chaired by the president of Alcorn State University, Dr. Felicia M. Nave, the first female and the 20th president of Alcorn State University. In addition, Cindy mentioned community-based organizations. We work with 70 plus community-based organizations that represent socially disadvantaged farmers there. We are currently working with 100% of the 1890 universities and a number of other land-grant universities to get things implemented. So in addition to stakeholder engagement, as you can see, is very broad, we also have to conduct active research then. And we have 6 priority areas in our research. We also do policy development. We take the issues and concerns and convert them into policy recommendations then. And then what we call strategic outreach. So the Policy Center, we don't do direct outreach to farmers. That is still the extension staff at the 1890 universities and the community-based organizations. But we provide the tools and techniques for those community-based organizations and for the 1890 universities to be able to provide that outreach. And we also communicate then information on the Farm Bill, because again, another reason that the Policy Center was created, because minorities and specifically Black farmers were not traditionally involved in the formulation then of policy, but they were impacted, and in a number of cases there was adverse impact because no one was sitting at the table to say, if you do this, then Black farmers intentionally or unintentionally will be harmed.
And sometimes you wonder if that truly wasn't by design, because right now what you're doing and what we're doing at the center is that we're actually still reviewing policy centers that put things in place years ago that didn't have us at the table. But we also look at all the farm bills from past to see what needs still to be corrected and changed, and offer that too for possibilities of some of that being changed.
Yeah. Yeah, and
absolutely. Go ahead.
No. You go. Please.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So one of the things, Cindy, you mentioned. So I just, to make sure that in the interest of education. So from 1868 to 1934, the federal government gave away 246 million acres of farmland in 160-acre land grants, underscore grants, to over 1.5 million white families. And so these federal land grants became the source of wealth creation for millions of white Americans as they improved the land, engaged in agricultural production, and leveraged the asset to start businesses and make investments. And I share this because I'm sure that you've heard about the challenges to the American Relief Act, which was to provide debt relief for farmers of color.
Yes.
And so white farmers said discrimination. And so I want to highlight again, I mentioned that we are focused on equitable relief. And equitable just does not mean equal, because if you start up here and I start down here, if you give us equal services, I will never catch up. It will never become equitable.
That's right.
Right. And so I want to highlight that so that everyone understands that, you know, minority farmers or Black farmers are not looking for anything special. They just want then the same and equitable treatment that has been provided, you know, for white farmers across America.
Right. And for some of our subscribers who may not know, and what she's referring to is that with that relief bill, that was going to excuse a lot of the Black farmers' debt. But we have about 4 or 5 white farmers who found a federal judge to basically put an injunction on that. So even us getting relief, and that's been something that's been signed into law, Black farmers still don't have that relief. Is that correct?
That's correct. That has not passed. And just quickly now, so what we also found then, and this data came from USDA, even if the debt relief provision of the American Relief, which would have provided $4 billion in funding then for debt relief of farmers of colors, only 8% of Black farmers then would have received debt relief.
Now you said 8%, 8%, not 80, but 8. 8. Only 8% of Black farmers.
Oh, wow.
Only 8%.
Yeah.
So the other 92% are not even included in that. It is only 8% that would have received debt relief. And if you think about it, in order to receive debt relief, you have to have been granted debt by FSA or have a loan that is backed by FSA. So the systemic racism goes even beyond, you know, as Cindy said, there were policies in place. And so after those land grants were given to 1.5 million white families over the past 100 years, white farmers have also utilized USDA loans, subsidy programs, and grants to expand their operations and weather during difficult times. It was often the Black farmers that were left out, you know, from these subsidies. And again, that wealth gap continued to increase, then not decrease. You know, so I just want to make sure that I highlight that.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with you. You're absolutely right.
Yes. So again, I just want to make sure that everybody understands the playing field in which we are operating then. So that's why, you know, I share that information. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that we educate. And then there is and by USDA's own admission, there was racism then where, you know, there was discrimination against specifically Black farmers, and primarily Black farmers and Native American Indians were the two group of classes that have suffered substantial discrimination then by USDA, by the federal government then. And so, and one other thing I'll share, how we got to the American Relief Act then, because one of the things during the previous administration, then Black farmers, well, first of all, let me take a step back. During the previous administration, the top 10% of farmers, which are predominantly white, received 60% of all COVID relief funds.
60% of all the money.
60% of the money went to the top 10%. The bottom 10% received less than 0.5%. So the majority of Black farmers are included in that bottom 10%. So they receive then less than 0.5% of COVID relief funds.
I want you to hold that thought. We're up against another break, and we're going to pick up from that because that's a lot right there.
Yes, major.
You're watching Ag and Culture. We're here with Ms. Eloris Speight, Executive Director of Small Disadvantaged Farmers and Ranchers Policy Center. More Ag and Culture after this.
At Heifer USA, we believe the backyard gardener can have a huge impact on their land, in their community, and on our climate. That's why we provide free virtual workshops for beginning, intermediate, and professional gardeners, teaching regenerative methods for growing healthy food while improving soil quality. Find us on YouTube at Heifer USA and join our online community of regenerative growers today.
Footprint Farms is a beautiful 68-acre vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet. We can't go any further without our acknowledging our title sponsor, which is Heifer International. For over 75 years, Heifer International USA has been partnering with communities and other organizations from around the world to help farmers build and grow sustainable businesses so that they can earn a livable income. So we're always proud and so proud to have Heifer International USA as our title sponsor. And to all our friends that may be watching us in North Little Rock, good morning to everybody at Heifer International.
Yeah, good morning. A great group to work with. We're learning so many new things. And the great part about our great sponsors is that they will be impacting Mississippi, which is a great segment to what we're about to talk about. And who's my special guest? My special guest. Our special guest?
Our special guest. And like I said, I think with our show, we try to lead up and we try to be consistent with the guests that we have to give very valid and real-time information as it relates to agriculture in Mississippi, and specifically agriculture and how it affects communities and farmers of color. So we want to be very clear about that on that point. So we try to bring you real guests, local as well as national, to really give you some in-depth information on some things that are really out there and that to explore, and all this great information that we can get from these subject matter experts.
Absolutely. And the great thing about this also is that the information you'll be receiving is knowledgeable information.
Absolutely.
It's true in fact.
Yeah.
We always say to you, all right, listen to us, we're going to give you the information, but we encourage you to go out there and read, to go out there and get involved, and look around to see what's going on with you, and know for sure these are the facts, not what some people are just telling you.
Correct. And that's why we like to have it straight from those real sources. And we appreciate all of our guests, including our guests this morning, for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here on Ag and Culture. So without further ado, we're going to get to it. We don't like to do too much small talk. We like to get into the nuts and bolts of our guest. Our guest this morning is going to be Dr. Trina N. George. She is the State Director of the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Development. Ms. George has been working in rural development, economic development in Mississippi for years, and has a really good, strong pedigree coming from the office of Congressman Benny G. Thompson, where she served as Special Projects Community Outreach for Mississippi, and later on was appointed in the Obama administration in her current position now as State Director of USDA Rural Development. And Dr. George is so phenomenal and so good at what she does. She has now been reappointed as State Director USDA Rural Development under the Biden-Harris administration. So I could bore you with all the accolades. I will say that one thing I love about it, she is a native Mississippian.
Yes.
She is
not just a native Mississippian. You know where she's from?
Well, yes, she is from Grenada, Mississippi. I was going to get to that. I was saving that for last, right up 55 North in Grenada. She holds a master's degree from Mississippi State University, and she got her bachelor's degree from Mississippi Valley State University. So without further ado, we want to bring on to Ag and Culture this morning, Dr. Trina N. George. Good morning, Dr. George. How are you?
Hello.
Hey.
Good morning. So good to be here.
So good for you to be here with us as well.
Yes, we're so happy that you're here with us. And I know that we actually gave you a title, but just so I can hear it from your lips, could you tell me again? It makes me smile.
All right. No problem. First of all, thank you for the awesome introduction. My role and my title is the USDA State Director of Rural Development for Mississippi.
Okay.
Yes, and that's a great title, but I'm going to give you the floor because it's so important what we have in Mississippi as rule. But we want you to tell us about the programs, what's available, and your mission as director for the state of Mississippi with rural development. So we're going to give it to you, Trina. Have at it.
All right, not a problem. Thank you, Dr. Harris. I appreciate it. Again, it's so great to be here with you all. And as you know, I love to talk about rural America.
Yes.
So for those people that's on the call and doing this program, some people may not know what USDA rural development is all about. So I'll tell you a little bit of background about rural development. What we do here at rural development, we like to consider ourselves like an investor ally, an ally and an advocate for rural people. Our investment, Dr. Ayers, in quality of life. It drives economic prosperity, and it makes America a place for everyone to call home. As I like to say, we like to be a
So hold on, Trina, hold on for me. Apparently, it's a bad connection right now. I don't know if you're on speakerphone or not. You want to first try coming off a speaker because we're hearing feedback here, and I'm sure everybody online is hearing it as well. I just got a text.
Okay.
That's
perfect.
so much better.
That's
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
that's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was on speakerphone, but thank you.
Yeah.
So just to tell you what we do as state directors, it's about 48 state directors throughout the state of the United States of America. We're in all 50 states, and I say it 48 state directors simply because one or two of those states has one state director. Okay. And we also encompass Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. So we're all over the United States of America. Part of what I would say about me as a state director, you can look at myself as a Rural Development Chief Executive Officer, okay?
Yes.
And we serve as the boots on ground, so to speak, in every state and every U.S. territory. I'm also kind of responsible for promoting the mission and the strategic goals of rural development. And I also provide key leadership, as you know, to develop and support a productive, a diverse, and an inclusive state workforce. We have some great employees at rural development, and I just want to throw that out there to them. Shout out to the employees of rural development throughout the state of Mississippi. Yes. I mean, we couldn't do all of the great work that we do for the state of Mississippi if it was not for these dedicated employees at rural development. So I just want to give a shout out to them.
Absolutely.
Well, they're very fortunate to have you there in leadership, but they are great people around, and I want to say thank you as well because they really made a difference in our lives as farmers and in so many others in Mississippi. So thank you a lot for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
no problem. I mean, they're part of how we get this message out. I mean, they help communicate the power of rural development's opportunities, for rural America, and they also help myself as well as the president get the message out on how to succeed in rural America. So.
Right. And Dr. George, just adding that obviously our show is Ag and Culture, and we really take a deep dive into agriculture. Just as, we're explaining rural development with USDA, and for some of our subscribers who may not understand exactly the functionality of rural development. From a farmer's perspective, can you just kind of dive into the importance of the partnership of rural development?
Sure. We work with with farmers. On several different programs we have. We fund the co-ops. And I think one of the co-ops I know that I worked closely with last time, we worked with the Mississippi Association of Cooperatives.
Yes.
And so we fund them, and what they do, they go out and in essence fund help the farmers with various issues that they have. We also work with the 1862s and the 1890s institutions. Work very closely with them. Also through our sister agencies, Farm Services Administration, as well as in NRCS, as you know. So it's like a partnership within our USDA agencies that we fund the farmers. And like I said, I could go on all day actually with the various programs that we offer farmers. But I am going to refer that to the USDA page, USDA.gov page.
Okay.
Because it's many programs that can assist farmers.
Sure. And that's usually the feedback that we get when we have great guests on, such as yourself, as we're talking about USDA, whether it's grants or loan programs, that we always get positive feedback and people definitely wanting to know more. And one of the biggest things that we do see is people trying to interface or interact with USDA or FSA for the first time. For some of our new and beginning farmers, what would you like to share as far as getting them acclimated to interacting with USDA, specifically with rural development and maybe some of your sister agencies like FSA?
Before you answer that, Trina, too.
Sure, no problem.
Before you answer that, too, also add into this what you do for cities and towns as rural development.
Okay, well, I want to kind of go on and answer that. We specifically at rural development, we have a program called our Value Added Producer Grant. That's specifically in USDA Rural Development's program. And so what that program does, it helps agriculture producers, as you know, enter into value-added activities related to the processing and marketing of a new product or an existing product. And so the goals of the program is to generate new products, create and expand marketing opportunities, and increase the producer income. So with that being said, I think, Dr. Ayers, would you kind of repeat the question, because I want to make sure I answer yours.
Great. No, I'm saying that's a great segment way into how does it help and work with small cities and towns in our rural areas with rural development.
Okay. So part of what we do, again, is everybody know rural development is formerly known as Farmers Home Administration. Okay? And so with that being said, we're known for housing. However, in rural development, we have over 40 different programs to offer rural America. So some of the programs that we do is we build housing. We have our community development program where we can build community centers. We build schools. Nonprofit organizations can come in and build homeless shelters in their communities. I mean, anything that's that can, again, in rural America, you have to qualify for the program. But in rural America, even let's look at police cars, fire stations, fire departments. Anything that they need. Water system. That's a big plus, plus, because we have to have clean drinking water systems. So.
Absolutely, and that's one.
And I can actually give you an example of a great project that we funded and how it assisted the county. I'm gonna just kind of talk about the town of Como, Mississippi.
Okay, but before we get to Como, because we definitely want our subscribers to hear that, we're up against the break, but we want you to hang on and definitely share that story. You're watching Ag and Culture. We're episode number 10. We're with Dr. Trina N. George. She is the State Director of USDA Rural Development. And after this short break, we'll get back into it with her and find out more about rural development in Mississippi. You're watching Ag and Culture.
Heifer USA is a nonprofit that supports small-scale, sustainable livestock businesses, and we are currently seeking individuals interested in pastured pork production in the state of Mississippi. Applicants should have access to at least 35 acres of land and be willing to participate in in-depth training, both online and in person at Heifer Ranch in Perryville, Arkansas. To learn about our operation, check out the Pastured Pigs playlist on the Heifer USA YouTube channel, or contact Farmer Engagement Specialist Ruth Canada at 501-391-5511.
Footprint Farms is a beautiful 68-acre vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet. Welcome back to Ag and Culture, episode number 10. We're proudly being sponsored by Heifer International USA for over 75 years. Heifer International has been supporting local farmers to build and grow sustainable businesses so that they can earn a livable income. So once again, we're always proud to have Heifer International USA as our title sponsor. We're here with Dr. Trina N. George. She is the State Director of USDA Rural Development. And Dr. George, if you could just jump back into it. You were getting ready to talk to us about the importance of some of the things on the ground that you guys do, and one of the ones I know in particular that you were getting ready to mention is the water association and water systems in rural areas. When we say water system, we're talking about the big towers that you normally see from afar, and the sewage and water infrastructure that goes along with that to serve communities that are in rural areas with fresh and clean drinking water. So without further ado, just please kind of go back and show the importance of what your agency does on that front.
No problem. So what we did recently, we invested about $4.3 million in the town of Como, Mississippi. And what we did there was we made upgrades to their existing water system. What we did, we rehabilitated the existing $300,000 gallon elevated storage tank. We demolished the existing 100,000 gallon storage tank, and we replaced all of the existing water meters with radio read meters, installing approximately 12,000 feet of new piping, and constructed a new pump station. That ensured the safe delivery of water service for that entire community. And that's big because obviously a town of that size probably don't have the financial fortitude to actually do a major water project like that. So rural development definitely plays a huge part in making those things reality. So definitely our hats are always off to you and your agency and your team for providing that to our small communities who sometimes feel like they've been forgotten about.
Absolutely. And the other part about that, Dr. George, and I love this part because it's small cities and towns, but also by doing this, you're also giving them an opportunity to help expand that for new housing, for new development, for new businesses. So now when they go out and talk to companies or businesses to expand or to come in, they know that they have the infrastructure, which we know is so expensive when you're looking to do business. So thank you. And that's a great program. But you do this all over the state of Mississippi. And it is by not just by population. When you say rural, let us know what you mean on the population side. Yeah. Who can qualify?
Yeah. What defines rural?
Yes.
Sure. The rule for considered being rural is a population of 50,000 or less.
Okay. Okay. That's a fair assumption. So 50,000, and usually because we are a rural state, that's kind of everybody almost fits that mold, except as you get closer to some of the major places like the Jackson metro area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that
approximately 80% of the state is considered rural.
Considered rural. Yeah. One of the things that that you guys are always, I wouldn't say famous for, but people really know you guys, is the USDA rural home loans. And I know that I was, in real estate years ago, and I know that for me, that was a big selling point for getting people qualified who lived in those areas who were designed by that. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's actually a website you can go to so you can actually maybe pull up your zip code and see, are you considered to be in a rural area, and that you could possibly, if you're looking for housing, that you could actually qualify for some of those loans. Could you just maybe talk about that a little bit and share some of the qualifications of the rural housing loan? Because obviously right now, the cost of housing, the limitation of actually how real estate being on the market, because as soon as it gets on there, it's flying, and kind of no matter where you are in the state. But just kind of going back, and you kind of talk about the USDA rural home loan programs that you have.
So yes, we have the single family housing program, and we have the guaranteed housing program. And I really can't just go into one particular qualification because you have to meet various standards on that. But what I can do is give you the websites that you were speaking of, as far as going in and placing your name and your income in there to see if you actually qualify for that various program. Okay.
Sure.
But the website I want to give you is www.rd .usda .gov/MS, and that'll take you right to the state of Mississippi's website.
Mississippi web. Yes, good, great. We'll make sure that hopefully before the show is over, we can definitely do that again to make sure that people can get that again, so they can definitely know about that. Because a lot of times you don't know what you don't know, and obviously there's going to be a lot of idiosyncrasies as far as who qualifies and who doesn't. But there's a vast amount of information that's there, and there's some really neat programs that would be beneficial to the people that qualify. Definitely on that.
And Dr. George,
like I said, it's two different programs that I want you to be cognizant of.
Sure.
And again, one of the programs is the 502 direct loan program, and that program is administered directly through rural development. However, the guaranteed programs, we guarantee the loans from banks. So that's kind of the difference.
Right. Right. And on the first one, and again, I'm not getting into qualifications, but just kind of, if you could, the highlights of that program and why it's a valuable program for whoever may qualify for that, some of the highlights of the program.
Sure, not a problem. So at a minimum, applicants of this program that's interested in obtaining a direct loan, they must have an adjusted income that is or at or below the applicable low income limit for that area for which they wish to buy the home.
Sure.
So that's going to be the key to that. It's a low income limit threshold that they have to meet for the county or the area that they live in.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so now I can tell you just some simple rules and regulations that they have to meet. The applicant must be without decent, safe, and sanitary housing.
Okay.
They must be unable, to obtain a loan from other resources on terms and conditions that can reasonably be expected to meet. Because some people can't go to a bank and obtain a loan. Okay.
Yeah.
They also must agree to occupy the property as their primary residence.
Yes.
They also have to have the legal capacity to incur a loan obligation, and they must meet the citizenship eligibility.
So they have to be naturalized citizens.
Must not be suspended or disbarred from participation in any federal program.
Gotcha. So, and is this particular program, is it credit driven as well?
Yes, they will check your credit. Yes, they will.
Okay. Is there a minimum baseline score that someone would have to have in order to qualify for this if they meet the other qualifications?
I tell you what we're gonna do. I don't want to.
Sure. I was
just coming back in to be very honest.
No. That's okay.
I don't want to give you a wrong credit score, and then they say, "Oh, well, she said no."
No. We'll just get our subscribers to just follow up and go back to that website, and I'm pretty sure they'll go into great detail about that. So just trying to give people some baseline that it is a program, but there are criteria in which you have to qualify for, and credit is one of those criteria. So yes, we're good.
But it's just one of those because there's so many other parts that fits, and because it's for rural areas and for the income base. So we know that most of the people. Our people that will qualify will be low-income families. Yes. So that's another important part. But Dr. George, if we can't get on the website, is there, if someone could give us a phone number? Because are we in every county in Mississippi? If they want to go in and want to make a call locally, say if they were in Batesville, Mississippi, if there's an office in Batesville, or if they were in Ashland, Mississippi, if there's an office in Ashland, or how can they go in if for what reason they're not computer literate and can't get on the line? How do they find out information?
Okay, now they're always welcome to call the state office, and they can call 601 863 3875. And that number right there is specifically for housing.
Specifically for housing, yep. And Dr. George, the only reason why I bring that up because obviously housing in Mississippi is so important, especially for people that are or below the poverty line, and finding decent and adequate housing is becoming more and more difficult as time goes by in the state. So I'm kind of putting a little emphasis on this because I just want people to understand and know, especially in our rural areas, that there are programs, there are agencies such as yours that are willing and ready and able to assist in any way that you can. So I just want to bring that to the forefront and let people know that this does exist, and we want them to reach out to you guys for additional information and any assistance that you can provide. So definitely thank you for that.
Yes, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and I just want to just elaborate on that a little bit. That number I gave you, that number is to our program director for housing, single family housing, and his name is Ivan Kiani.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little background. He and I met yesterday, and we were just kind of discussing some of the things that need to be addressed as far as single-family housing is concerned throughout the state of Mississippi. And I can tell you this, he's even more passionate, I think, than I am about the program. So he understands what needs to happen in the state of Mississippi. He clearly understands that, and so he and I will be working very close together to make sure that, like you said, that the people, that this word gets out, as well as application continues to come in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's so great. And that's another beautiful part about you, Dr. George, with the new people and people that you have now in your armor. You can now send them out, and they know they got some support to go out there and actually do the mission. And the mission, we know, is so important of rural development for America, but especially for us here in Mississippi. So thank you so much for that. Let me also say that you got some we got some callers, not callers, we got some emails or texts that's saying hello to you and hello to John and some of the other ones. Eric, good morning. And so you have people that's also listening that's coming up on our screen. So thank you so very much. So Dr. George, we're going to now give this to you and give us what you want people to know and what we can listen. So just take your platform and let's do it.
All right, no problem. So I know all of you know that last week President Biden had his first State of the Union address, and he highlighted some excellent projects that's coming aboard and what he would like to see happen going into the future. And so I just want to talk about that for a minute, some of the things that he and Vice President Harris wants to see happen, what he wants to do by this economic recovery that we're in the process of going through now, is he wants to make more things in America, strengthening our supply chains and moving goods faster and a lot cheaper. That's one thing. The second thing that this administration wants to see happen is reducing the cost of everyday expenses for the working families that they face while reducing the deficit.
Right.
Another thing that we actually want to see is promoting fair competition to lower prices, help small businesses thrive, and protect consumers. And last and certainly not least, we want to eliminate barriers to good paying jobs for workers across America. that's what we definitely want to do.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I mean, everything else follows.
And so part of rural development's strategic goal, or what we have here at rural development, is under the leadership of President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Agriculture Secretary Vilsack, USDA is committed to being an ally for people in rural communities by investing in infrastructure and opportunities that help build back better.
Yeah.
We're supporting America's rural communities on the front lines of climate change by building disaster resilience and making climate-smart investments, increasing access to renewable energies and fuel instructions, and creating new income opportunities. And then last and not least, I just want to say increasing equity in and for rural America.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that statement so much. So many times it seems like we're always left out of those discussions. So we appreciate that. That's top priority for this administration.
We really do. And Dr. George, we know that you work with so many other agencies as well. So for us, the first time in Mississippi, I think maybe, I'm not sure if any other state has this for Mississippi right now. You're in, of course, as the first woman to have to lead USDA USDA rural development. But we also have now two other brothers that's now running the other ones. We got a commercial coming up.
Hold that thought. We're up against the break. We're with Dr. Trina N. George, State Director of USDA Rural Development. You are watching Ag and Culture on the We Believe Global Network.
Heifer USA is a leader in regenerative agricultural practices, like our pastured pork production operation. Raising pigs on pasture allows the animals to flourish in their natural habitat while building organic soil matter and restoring soil biodiversity. And we're sharing our knowledge with viewers like you with in-depth training videos on raising pastured pork, poultry, cattle, and sheep. Find us on YouTube at Heifer USA and join our online community of regenerative ranchers today.
Footprint Farms is a beautiful 68-acre vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet. Hey, we're back with Ag and Culture, being proudly sponsored by Heifer International USA. We're talking to Dr. Trina N. George. She is the State Director of USDA Rural Development. And Dr. Ayers, you were about to elaborate on a point before we went to the break. So I wanted to kind of pick back up on that you were talking about.
Great, thank you, LeGrand. One of the points, of course, you being the first female to actually head this agency in Mississippi, which I'm so very proud of, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of women throughout this state and this country on what a rarity that is. So for you to have this opportunity to serve as a female, it opens up different things that people usually don't see that's heading these agencies. The other part I was going to say, for the first time, I think in history, I know for Mississippi, we now have 3 division heads that are now African Americans. For one, of course, you for rural development, and Kurt Reedus for NRCS, and the new gentleman that's on, who's also a Mississippi Valley State graduate for FSA. Can you speak or just talk about your colleagues, any?
Sure. One, I have a great group of colleagues that's committed to rural America. I couldn't be in better company. I have actually worked with each of my colleagues in some capacity or another in the past, and it's just great to come aboard and have them fighting the good fight.
That's
I promise you.
That's right. Yeah, and we had the chance to meet the new state director of FSA. They actually came and did a tour of the farm last week. It was very refreshing, as Dr. George alluded to, that the commitment and the level of commitment that these fine folks are really on the front lines and really want to truly make a difference. Especially here in Mississippi, and obviously both of you guys being native Mississippians, there's even a little bit more, dog in the hunt, as they say, to make sure that we are leading not only the nation, but we're leading Mississippi into a more prosperous 21st century.
Absolutely. And again, Trina, we want to give it back to you. If there's Dr. George, if there's anything else that you want to share with us during this time, this is a great time. If there's any other numbers you want to give out, we'd be more than happy to make sure that goes on our site as well. So again, we're going to give it back to you for any other information you'd like to share with us.
Yes, I do want to go. I want to double back. Because I like to be thorough.
Yes.
Sure.
And so you did ask me about the credit score. So I really didn't want to get out the phone without giving you a more concrete answer regarding the credit score for housing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So here's the credit score. So you could have a 580 or above. Okay. However, if your credit score is below 580, you cannot have any other adverse factors like bankruptcy or debt-to-income issues, those sorts of issues.
Okay.
So that's it.
Would like, so for instance, when you say that, and like I said, I like to, for some of our subscribers to be absolutely clear, when you say those things like bankruptcies, most time people have either student loan debt or hospital bills. Are those considered major impacts, deficiencies for the program? When you look at like a bankruptcy, is it kind of on the same teetering of that, because most people are going to have student loans and they're going to have medical bills. So is that part of that as well?
Yes, they do for student loans, medical bills. That all encompasses your credit.
Gotcha.
However, not to say that we would not work with you.
Sure.
Okay. Again, you have to come. It's a case-by-case basis.
Sure.
So, but you just one thing you have to do though for sure is apply.
Yes.
Right. And that's the other thing is to apply. And sometimes, obviously we're in rural America, the technical support becomes that much more important, even when you're talking about something as simplistic as filling out the application, be it on paper or online. And obviously we being in rural America, sometimes internet connectivity is not always the best. So if worst case and somebody's in a rural area and they need to and want to apply or get more information on this and they don't have internet connection, they can always come to their local office of rural development, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Good.
And I'm glad you brought broadband up because we are actually addressing some of those issues. I mean, we all know that we need to be in the digital age.
Yes.
Okay, and so let me just give you an example of some of the money that we've invested in broadband. We invested recently $3 million in the Bay Springs Telephone Company area. That's in the Jasper County area. And so what that $3 million was for is to construct an approximately 80-mile fiber-to-the-premises system. And that would benefit thousands of residents and 5 businesses in and around Jasper County community, the service area.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah. Yep. And those are the things.
And that's going on really across the state. Again, I know as well as you all, if you don't have the access to technology, you will be left behind.
Yes, and obviously and some of our other guests where we talk about broadband in rural areas, and it broke my heart to see so many children during this pandemic who their parents and themselves frustrated and kind of suffered, all because of exactly what you said, not having that connectivity, and more specifically not having that type of connectivity in some of our more rural areas. So I'm so glad that rural development seems to be on top of this and trying to spread the dollars to definitely make sure that we can alleviate some of this digital divide that we have in our state, because obviously this pandemic really showed that we definitely need to narrow that gap as far as the digital age is concerned and our connectivity in our rural areas in Mississippi.
Absolutely. And Dr. George, I'm sure you can agree that what's happening right now in rural development and in rural America, this is going to really change the whole outlook for the towns, the communities, for the schools, again, which will allow more opportunity for expansion. One of the things we have to look at is keeping population and bringing in more population and keeping our young people in the state. So by having access to this type of technology, allows them to become more entrepreneurs at home versus having to leave the state even to look at this. So thank you so much. And to the Biden and Harris administration, I know one of their pillars that they talk about is America in general, but especially rural America. So I'm very, very happy to know that you're at the helm here in Mississippi, and I'm sure this is, with your counterparts throughout this country, best practices will be looked upon, and you'll be one of those to make sure that happens. So thank you so much. So much for that.
Part of this administration goal is to provide affordable internet to every American. That's part of the administration's goal. But I do want to also double back on the value-added grant. I want to get out there. As far as it's open at this point.
Yes.
Applications, we're taking applications, and we will be taking applications for the value-added producer grant from March the 1st through May the 2nd. So it's out there, it's available, and so we're encouraging everyone to please go and apply.
And they can apply and go to the website that you had told us about, go online, and all that information is there, and they can actually apply online, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Good. Good.
And if they need any more information, they can call your office, your main number there at Rural Development.
Yes. Hold on. Let me give you another number to call.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Great.
And that number is 601-965-4316.
Okay. Okay. That's 601.
That's the main line for the state office here in Mississippi.
601-965-4316. The main number for rural development. I know that you got so many other things that you need to do today, and I want to thank you for taking time to come into our studios to talk to us about this. But again, please tell us anything else you need for us to know. I know you're just coming in. Have you been in a week yet? So you're just coming into the office?
Well, I've been in a week. This is my second week. So, yes.
So we know that you're still meeting your new people and talking to them like you have such a great personality. I know that a lot of eyes will be opened by your leadership that's there for this whole state. So again, congratulations on that. But we want to we want to give you some more time to learn some new programs, but we want to invite you to come back. And hopefully when you come back, you will be in studio, or we'll be able to do a link to you that looks like you're in studio with all this new technology. We never know where you're going to be throughout the state. So
Exactly.
So thank you so much for that.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you all for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to coming back and sharing some new programs with you all.
Sure.
Hopefully by the time I come back, I can share that we've spent over $60 million. So hey.
We like that.
Yeah. So, Dr. George, before we go, can you kind of talk about maybe some of the projects that you have on the horizon, or some of the other rural projects such as water systems or something along that caliber that you guys are planning, or you're strategically planning, or you're getting ready to launch? Can you talk to any of those programs that may be coming about, and specifically where in the state that they may be happening?
That's a big question, LeGrand.
We have various programs happening all over the state. So,
Gotcha.
But I tell you what, as soon as you'll all be the first to know once we start really just kind of announcing some pending projects.
Sure.
You'll be the first to know.
Sure.
That's what we need. We'll do that, and we'll make sure we help push that agenda. When you tell us, we'll tell the rest of America to help you in Mississippi. LeGrand, without a doubt, this is going to be a phenomenal year.
Sure.
Coming in for Mississippi with the leadership that the President and Vice President Harris has seen fit to do, along with our Congressman, to bring in these
Right.
great
Yes.
people for Mississippi. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to have one of these 3 ways when I got everybody on to talk about this. We truly going to have a dialogue, and hopefully soon that round table will happen for Mississippi, and we'll be a part to help put that on. How about that?
Yeah. No,
That sounds great to me. I'm
always
going to hold you
excited.
to that also.
Well, hold me to that. If you need us anytime with agriculture or with Footprint Farms or us in general to help in any way to help move the needle for our Mississippians here, please count us in.
Absolutely.
All right, and again, I want to say thank you for having me, and you all please keep up the great work of getting this important information out to the people. Thank you so much.
And we will.
We will. We appreciate you, Dr. Trina N. George, State Director of USDA Rural Development. Again, congratulations and welcome back aboard. And hopefully we'll be coming to see you and visit your office, or you coming out to the farm to visit and see some of the great things we're doing as well.
Yes. You're always welcome.
That sounds like a date to me.
Thank you so very much.
Thank
We'll
you,
talk with you
thank
soon.
you, Dr.
All right.
George. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
You all have a blessed day.
You
Good.
too, ma'am.
so much.
Good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Heifer USA is a nonprofit that supports small-scale, sustainable livestock businesses, and we are currently seeking individuals interested in pastured pork production in the state of Mississippi. Applicants should have access to at least 35 acres of land and be willing to participate in in-depth training, both online and in person at Heifer Ranch in Perryville, Arkansas. To learn about our operation, check out the Pastured Pigs playlist on the Heifer USA YouTube channel, or contact Farmer Engagement Specialist Ruth Canada at 501-391-5511.